Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, fam? How we doing? Give me some heads up in the chat. We have sound. Make sure we're all good over here. All right, all right, all right. What's up? What's up? Do 50 push-ups and you are stronger than all men. All right, King. Let's go. Good morning. We get a sound check real quick. Sound is good. Yo, what's up? All right, all right. I don't know about the myth, the legend, but I'll take the man. Can we use hand? Ooh, I don't know. The hand pan. Now I'll tell you what a hand pan is. That was a copyright free music radio. We're not getting taken down today. All right, not getting taken down today. So let's go. We got Severin in the chat. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in. I want to quickly just say hello to a few folks, and I'll switch her on over now. Something special for you today. Okay, we got a couple of updates, couple trading plans, and actually a big review over the market because I gotta tell you, this is an interesting time to be a trader. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw up the chart there. Oh, trading view. You should be able to see the trading view chart there. Go ahead and not spill. So we have Deadliest Catch in the chat. Good to see you, friend. Itafeza. Sounds like a German mix there with some feta cheese. Maybe that's what you're talking about. Feta queza. Bertremengatax. It's a tough name. Tough name, my friend. Hey, 1121. Good to see you. Craft. Finnegan Mulligan. Love that. That's cool. Johannes von Arnima. Hey. We got African Spear 6122. Holler at Chiaboy. Jokutukul. Some interesting names over here. Interesting names. Down the rabbit hole. My boy in the pool. Let's go, Che. You're well, my buddy. Matthew 32225. My guy. Kevin. We've got Reigns Mazures. Good to see you, Liam. Pleasure. 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 Can't handle it. Busting a move. Don't bust too hard there, buddy. Don't bust too hard yet. Okay, we just got started. So we've got King, 20 push-ups. He went from 20 to 50. All right, all right. Gold found some power from Matthew. Oh, you were selling gold? No. Man. I wouldn't blame you though, because we've now got, and we'll talk about this in just 1 second. We've got interesting interest rate movements. And if you pay attention to the markets at all, you know interest rates have a huge impact on what is happening in the overall markets. So we'll say hello to Bitcoin advisors and Arthur, woo, Ace Markets, all my boys, the homies, the gals, H2 Busy, Skepo TV in the house, Bruno Crew, hello. Hola, welcome, bienvenidos. Tudo bem? Bien conmigo? Gracias por venir. And willkommen, mein Freund und Freundin. Yeah, so I'm just gonna break it down. This is the plan for today. Planning to take a look over the Bitcoin chart. We'll go in depth. We'll look at some low time frame scalp trades, some potential bump and run activities off of the trend line that we've got going, and also gonna take a look at hype because we've got we had the hype trade here. Long was stopped out. That's okay. We've now got the opportunity for a push below some nice lows here, and potentially move off of value area low here on hype. So as we can see, hype has actually been in a sort of a medium time frame uptrend, big time frame uptrend, excuse me. Rather, the medium time frame has not shifted, so we made a lower high, now a lower low. So the hype long trade, not as attractive as it might have been, say, 2 weeks ago. Every time I've taken some long trades on here, as soon as it didn't go back to all-time highs, that was kind of a heads up of, hey, maybe this, maybe the hype on hype has been hyped out or overhyped, if you will. And let's not get caught in the hype, you know. But we're gonna take a look at that. We're also gonna be looking at Tesla and more importantly, SpaceX, because I think we've got a nice opportunity here for SpaceX. There's actually going to be a reporting of earnings on August 2nd, or later that week in the first week of August, and that's when the big boys, the investors, can start selling out their shares. So my guess would be that, and it's just a guess, not financial advice, that when we do ultimately reach the point of ability to sell from these big time firm investors, I think we'll see a big move up in price because they're not going to get out on a low. I don't think that's how it works. Yeah. So the plan is also to oh boy, take a look at the oil trade. I don't know how many of you are actually trading oil, but I think it's really important to look at because, well, we're the market we're in has a demand right now for oil, and at least take advantage of that and how it affects the crypto markets. We should review it at the very least. And then, of course, starting off, I always like to look at the overall markets to see what's moving, what's not, what's in, what's cold, what's hot, and overall economic picture. So this week, pretty barren in terms of economic news. But what we do have, and I think it's something that I need to review with you really quickly. Just do a little bit tunes on here in the background. Okay, so we've been hyping consolidation. No, it's possible. I'm gonna take a look at the chat really quick. NQ tagged the monthly imbalance and then started pumping like BTC. Interesting. Yeah, NQ definitely could be leading. So Severin and Scott says, Tracy, do you guys post video recordings of the meetups for members that cannot attend? I'm not sure. I think they do, yeah, but they won't be everything. It would be maybe some highlights. It wouldn't be like the full thing. I don't think so. So the best way to I think see all that is to be in the building, and if you can't make it, you can't make it. But there'll be more times, and we'll have bigger and better every time. So okay. I wanted to review something with you all because just by out of interest. Let me put this on really quick. How many of you all are following prediction markets? Just give me like a yes or a no in the chat. Is this something? It seems like something that's become a big focus for a lot of bigger market participants. Has been the use of prediction markets. So I'm curious to know if anybody's looking at that. And then while you're at it, smash the likes if you love Bitcoin, if you love crypto, if you're trading oil right now, or even if you just don't care. Throw the likes up in the air, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, lots of stuff rallying out there. I think we see some. So we can see no, okay, yes, one no, two no's and one yes for their prediction markets. And the one I don't really follow in terms of like the low grade, like will so and so sneeze on camera during the World Cup. Like I don't look at that type of stuff, but really what's got me interested, and there's a couple different metrics out there that people have looked at. Oops. From what I've learned, looks like Polymarket's rigged. All right, so we go to Kalshi. Oh, I have to log in. Get out of here. So I've got to create an account then. What I've learned is that people go into these prediction markets and use their capital to influence decisions. Who would have thought? I mean, who would have thought that people would do that? Oh, don't want a promo code. Why do I have to put in a phone number? Don't want to do that. going to switch this screen and I'll show you what's going on over here. Okay, let me know if you can see that screen right there. And I'll keep Bitcoin up in the background so we kind of can keep an eye on it, because it's not really for me, it's actually not at a point of potential trade right now. I'm looking for a little bit lower, and we'll talk about that. I just really wanted to check out something interesting that's happening over on Kalshi. So let's see, we can compare and contrast these two. Really what I'm trying to look at is, hey, will the Fed hike rates before 2027? And when we're talking about gold earlier, I think the price of gold typically is inverse of interest rates. So if interest rates go up, gold price goes down. Right now, gold seems to be on a little bit of a rally. So interesting. NASDAQ 100 price by today above 29,150, 66%. Zen US shipping volume. What is that finance? I don't know. Yeah, 10-year treasury yields today 4.66 or above. Looks like 4.64 or above. So 19% chance that the Fed will cut rates. Okay, that's pretty low. What about okay, so we have a 60. This is the one I wanted to find. 64% think that it could be a Fed rate hike at the end of the year. 75% before July of next year. Okay, 1 year out. And then 75%, 74% before next 2028, the year after next. So pretty interesting. So I think this is important because look, it basically went from 0% in back in the earlier part of the year. Now it's just on, so it's uptrending. So this interest rates predictions may be potentially uptrending. So next thing that we need to look at, the options flow for Bitcoin. Okay, looking at end of the month, so we've got the max pain price for the end of the month, 64,000 on BTC. All right. And hey, we're here right around 66,000, so not too far off. As you can see, there's this massive call wall up at 70,000 for Bitcoin. Okay, and then you have here 72,000, again, a massive call wall. And on the put side, you don't really have too much. Okay, so you've got a lot of open interest here on the, you can see you've got 146,000 contracts open interest on the call side of things. Okay, it's a little bit unbalanced there. So with the puts being only at 32,000 contracts. So A very interesting pop here. Looks a little better using a gradient, because that way you see where the longs are coming in and where the shorts are coming in. And then I used to look at the ladder, so you can see both sides of the market, but it seems a little more practical now to look at the delta. See the difference between the buys and the sells, where they're coming in, where price is getting stopped, and ultimately the big important part for me is what is going on with the open interest, because the open interest plays a big role for me. So right here you've got the volume. These are the cluster statistics, which can be very important. You can see sort of these outlier volume spikes. So we probably had one at 9:30 a.m., which is the open of the New York Stock Exchange. Okay, right here. But overall, Bitcoin has been pretty low volume. Okay, it's been a low volume move here. And as you can see, price dropping on the 30-minute time frame, but also open interest dropping. So these are contracts coming out of the market with a little bit of an increase in volume. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Bitcoin consolidating here below the overall big range POC. So the plan for my group this week was to review the price as it approached 67,000. 67,000 is the big resistance for me. That's the big resistance level that I've been looking at, because not only is it the big range point of control here, it's it's a very important level. And those of you who follow along and who are in the group, you know why. I won't give away all the secret sauce, but as you can see here, we've got a nice anchored VWAP coming from the beginning of this downtrend. Okay, acting as resistance, holding this trend line so far for Bitcoin. And once getting back above here, immediately going to tap this level of interest. And one level that I believe will definitely get taken out here on Bitcoin is the ugly highs over at 67,276. I think that's a disgusting little high. I think it needs to be fixed, and we haven't got there yet. So this is where I'm looking for my next short trade, by the way. This would be an uptrend here, as we discussed. We'll be looking for, a push above the POC and then a overall SFP rejection. And that's where this short trade would come into play. Okay, so alert set for this high right here, 66,900, excuse me. And also potential for a nice scalp long at the retest of this anchored VWAP on this, on the nice uptrend here, trend line. And that could go one of either way. It could go one of two ways, right? So you go up and you have the SFP of the 66,000, 67,000 level, and then you push back down for the value rotation, failed value rotation. Or if you claim this level here, you get something like this, right? Retest, claim 67,000. Then I think you start to move up to the bigger levels of resistance, like 72,000, 73,000, and the top of the range ultimately. So that is the overall picture and idea for me right now. You've got two options, okay? Medium time frame long trade here at the, call it 65,000 support. You also have a nice supply and demand level here. Can't ignore these. I mean, this is, as you can see, look at support, resistance, finding support there again. And as you can see, you can pull this all the way back to the beginning of the range. And this level has been very important. 1, 2, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 touches so far on this level. So very, it's got a lot of history. So if we revisit that again, then we can get that good market structure to hold. I think we can easily go a lot higher. Overall target being that 66,000, 76,000, or even as a first level, this value area high at 73,500. Okay, that's where we're at. So let's see here. How do I find the MPOC? Well, you could do. Can't hear you good. Okay, can you turn the volume up? Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let me do this. Let me turn the music down. Turn my volume up. Okay, that should be better. I don't want to scream in your ear. Hey, I appreciate you all for giving me the heads up. Oh, I can't hear myself, so hard to tell. Set truck. Yes. Hey, let me know if you can hear me now. Better, better. A Silk says Sailor is goat. Much better. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, and then anywhere along the way, if you start to lose me, just holler. And yeah, so we got a couple questions here on the NPOC. So this would not be the template that I'm using to look at NPOCs. Okay, this would be the template that I'm using to look at medium to low time frame order flow. Okay. Yeah, I was whispering. That's how nervous I was. Whispering to the wind. But overall, this is the one I'm looking at when I'm getting ready to take an entry. And I'll show you, I'll just give an example. Maybe this will help understand what I'm looking for. Let's see here. And the cool part about this one is you can look at historic highs and lows and go and see what was happening in those levels, where it should be the June 30th. What was happening at those levels to where price reacted a certain way and why it did react that certain way. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, if you go to the 30th of June, it's the current low on the Bitcoin chart. And you look at the order flow. Okay, what do we have here? You've got an increased amount of sellers coming in the market. So you've got sellers, a big volume candle with sellers trapped here in the low. Okay, and right out of that low, you've got an increase in open interest, an increase in long trades, and a slight increase in volume. So that shows me we've got one trapped sellers, 2 buying interest coming out of the level, and 3 a retest of the level with the buyers being retested and new buyers coming in. Okay, that open interest starts to increase. You see this slightly going up. That's new contracts coming into the market, and then overall a push of price higher to support that overall move. So see the open interest increasing, volume slightly increasing. Now this is not a perfect example, but it's one that I would use as a reference point. So even here, look at this. Same thing for a good high. You want to look for trapped buyers right here. This seller trapped at the low. Okay, high volume candle, sellers trapped, open interest increasing, new contracts, new longs coming in here, big buys stepping in with an increase of open interest, big positive delta. Okay, and you see price from there moving up. Okay, and that's when you see some of the shorts getting stopped out. It's indicated by this open interest decrease, and then also some new contracts coming in as well. So likewise, you can see that at this high here, tons of stops getting hit, probably would be my guess. I mean, you see this happen at the highs here, massive orders coming out right at the high point. That's when you know it's going to be a decent high or decent low. Okay, not always, but most of the time. Okay, so that's what I'm using this one for. And for NPOCs, I'm using a different template. Okay, this one's more for low time frame, medium time frame order flow to see inside of the candles to see what the delta is. Trapped sailors. All right, so we've got the Audi says 64.8, 65. Got some decent local support. Down the rabbit hole says trapped sailors. Could be. Could be. Although they don't seem to be trading derivatives, but I don't know if they may be. They're trading a lot of spot. The Bitcoin Whisperer. Manin99. That's a good joke there. So the Audi 64.8, 65.1 got some decent local support. Good TP1 scalp long. Let's take a look. 65.1, 64.8. Let's go look over in this chart here. Okay, 64.1. 65.1. Yeah, but I say 64.9. Yeah, 0.8. There you go. So this would be a nice level. But right now, as far as I'm seeing, and we can scroll down even a little bit on the time frames. So 4 hours is pretty high time frame for a scalp trade, but even looks better down here, I think. So what I'm looking at here is the CC Fibonacci. Okay, you've got clear resistance here, big level, right? So what we'd be now looking for is, for this scalp trade, we'd be looking for a rejection here, okay, a move down, okay, and then a retest with an increase in open interest, increase in volume, reclaim of the trend line. That's what we'd be looking for, that trade here. So yes, 64.8 to this level here around 65.1. I think that's going to be a great level. And that'll be the idea here. Now, that said, it looks like price is getting a nice pump here on Bitcoin. So if we just continue up, I'd be looking for the price to do something like this. And right now we actually have a slight increase in volume, but a decrease in open interest. So contracts coming out, probably getting stopped, shorts getting stopped out as price comes higher. Now reclaim this, however, price comes up here. I think you can look for a move to reclaim this level and push higher. Right, something like that. It's the second option. So price becomes bullish and moves higher, or price is relatively gives us a nice re-entry point. So have to wait and see. Alarm set right now for, should I put them at 66,600, and then the overall high 66,935. Cool. And what I like to do throughout the day is check my watch list. Okay, so we've got BTC out here. Oil up at $86. That's wild. I mean, that's just insane. Speaking of wild, WLD, World Coin, aka Big Brother Coin, aka Sam Altman Coin, aka Eyeball Coin. I think it's a biometrics scanner. And then we've got Robinhood, super bullish. Tesla, meh. It's probably going to follow SpaceX around, but Nvidia's up, of course, as always. Love to see it reclaiming that 200 level. Okay. A lot of questions around this volume footprint here. So, what are the names of those delta volume indicators? Happy days. The footprint chart, that is just you go to the chart type, bar style rather, here on TradingView, you add volume footprint. And then you got to tune up the settings a little bit so that it's right for the asset you're looking at. For me, I look at anywhere from 600 to 300 ticks per row on Bitcoin, and the different chart you're on, the difference you have to scale it up or scale it down. And typically I do manual because I just don't like the way that they auto tune this thing, auto tune. But what you can do is you can make it either a info box here that shows up on the chart or a table down below. And I like the table. It just stays out of it keeps my chart clean pretty much. Also, I like to look at the delta. You can look at the ladder, the total, or you can even look at the clusters. I think the profile looks the best. And then I use a gradient for buys and sells. Okay, that way you can kind of see on a relative basis which ones are being stronger. And then you can also add the imbalances, right? So the imbalances are stacked orders, right? So you see out of this low right here, you see buying interest stacking up right here. Okay, so only buys, no sells, pushing up. Same here, only sells, no buys. Those sometimes get retested, can act as strong support and resistance levels, like you're seeing right here. See, this was a strong sell level, seller imbalance right here. And you're seeing price react off of it very, very nicely. So as price comes into here, these sellers here are now forced out of the market. And you can see that by the decrease of open interest, the increase of long trades, as well as a cluster of buys right here on the delta side. Okay. Yeah, KevG, just talking a little bit about that. Can you explain a little bit about stacked imbalances and the ratios? Yes, happy to. So the stacked imbalances are essentially when it's an imbalance of 3 or more ticks. So like you could set this up, you could make it 6. And that would make it a little more, it would have to be a bigger imbalance in order to show up. I found that 3 works really well. And the imbalance percentage is 300%. So basically for every 1 short trade, there has to be 3 or more long trades. If there is, that creates an imbalance. And that's obviously relative. It would be a lot more. So for this candle in particular, if it was 100 long trades, it'd have to be, 100 short trades, it has to be at least 300 longs. So there's 100 shorts here. If there's 300 or more longs, that creates an imbalance. There has to be 3 of those in a row to create these. So it has to be, it's a significant amount of, it's a significant difference, right? It's a significant amount. Okay, so I find 3 to be very, very helpful. It's not too granular. 300% is significant. So it's like at least 3 times the amount of one trade over the other. And the way I found is it acts very, very, very nicely on the derivatives. I haven't checked it on the on spot trading or anything else. So imbalance percentage is just how many more, is it 3 to 1? That would be a 300%. Or is it, you want to dial it in higher so you see only really, 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 really big imbalances? That's totally cool too. Whatever fits your trading style. And for me, medium time frame, low time frame scalping, and day trading, 300% seems to be the right amount. Okay. And now on the summary info, at least you can look at all this other stuff. I tend to just take session CVD, delta, and volume. Open interest is good, but you really have to be like, someone asked, is open interest on TradingView accurate? I found it to be very accurate. It's free, but it's not free. And it's included in, if you have the premium subscription on TradingView. And let's see. In between the tick sizes, I haven't tracked the difference between the different ratios, but I mean, I'm typically on the tick size, I use it relative to the move for the day. If the move and the volume are high, the tick size is going to be a little higher. If the move and the volume are low, tick size is going to be a little bit lower. To sort of zoom in on, and the lower the tick size goes, I found that you find a little bit more of a granular, a little less of a granular. So it's like you zoom out a little bit, the numbers get bigger, and the accuracy gets a little lower with the smaller tick size. With the bigger tick size, you're taking in more data, so you're actually getting a zoomed in microscopic picture. For example, if I wanted to really get into these candles, right now I'm at 210 ticks per row. Let's say I did 600. And then you get a oops. Then the higher tick size would show you basically the same data, but just looking at it from a different perspective, right? So if you go down to, let's say 50, you get really microscopic. You have way more imbalances. The numbers would be a lot smaller, and you'd see a lot more granularity, so to speak. So I think I had that backwards. Yeah, smaller tick size, more granular, bigger tick size. Sort of summarized data. Cool. So I like to keep it relatively in the middle. So I like to be able to see it from, a zoomed out bit, but not have to like squint to see it, hopefully. Yeah, I found that someone asked how accurate is the open interest. I found it to be pretty accurate, especially off of the Bybit USDT chart, the perpetual futures. I haven't had any problems with it. Some people, I think maybe it's probably more accurate on like an Addis or a Quant Hour, because they're pulling data from a different a different source, but TradingView I found to be fairly accurate, especially as a tool that's relatively new to the order flow. So I like it. Works for me, and I've never had any issues with it. Okay. So Silk, why are you using this TV rubbish order flow? Well, it's actually not that bad. It's actually not that bad. So I've actually found this to be better and more simple. And if the reason, if the reason is because you wanted to pay for another service and you had the bandwidth of time to be able to set it up and manage a whole nother platform, that's good. I found myself going back and forth from TradingView to Quantower like too much. And I was having to manage, so I had to manage all my templates over here. Then I had to manage all my charts over on Quantower. And it was just like I felt like a segmentation of my time. And so for me, in order to have everything in one place, so I have, not only do I have my brokers here, and I can trade directly from the chart, but I've got all my TA, all my historic, all the historic price action, all the TA that I've done for the last, 3 or 4 months. And more. I mean, there's charts that have TA from years and years and years ago, but I have everything here in one place. Not only that, I mean, this is one of the reasons I really have been loving using TradingView full time, is because I can read everything off the whole market to find which coins are performing best right now. 10 billion and above, who's performing. So the big market cap coins are not really performing well right now. Okay, you've got Solana up 8% over the last week. Excuse me, over the last month. But like crypto in general, like if you look at the overall, like how well they're performing this year in the top, 15 coins or so, it's not great. Okay. The only one that's really kind of outperforming everything is Hype. And even that's not doing great this week. So Hype, bot chain, whatever the heck that is. Tron is up 15% this year, but everything else is really, I mean, crypto is sort of dead right now. There's some moves going on, but not nearly as much as, let's say, if we were to look at stock market, for example. Just look at the big boys in the stock market, check out their performance, look at it over the last year. Sort by descending. You've got SanDisk up 555%. You've got whatever that is, Kyokia up 500%. Dell up 250%. Micron I mean, right now the play is in the stock market and in futures. It's not in crypto. So that's why I've been focusing a little bit more of my time there and in the options markets. But SanDisk, I'm sorry, look at the performance over 1 year for SanDisk, 3,700%. That seems a little bubbly, not gonna lie. I don't know what this even is, this Kyokia Holdings. What is it? Anybody heard of this? 15,000. Oh, is this one of the Korean companies? Let's see. Oh, it's Tokyo. Okay, so whatever this thing is, it's performing pretty well, right? It's up 600% over the last year. Some of these numbers, I mean, Micron, 761%. I mean, this is the sector of electronic technology has been outperforming crypto for a long time. Okay. I mean, crypto is barely even, but of course they're very separate markets and separate things. So crypto will definitely have its heyday, but right now the AI trade is where it's at. So let's see. Yeah, a lot of interest on this this chart here. So Tesla earnings today, is that right? One of the things I was going to talk about is the earnings that we have coming up. And this is going to be, today is the very first of a large set of earnings coming in. Okay, this is the tech companies are starting right now. Okay, we had some yesterday. Interactive Brokers, we had a lot of the financial websites yesterday. Capital One, General Motors, few companies, Synchrony Financial, a couple of the financials yesterday. But what we need to be paying attention to as traders are these big names. Okay, anything in the trillions, that's something we need to look at. Okay, so this is Alphabet, Google reporting today, Tesla reporting today. Everything else is coming. The big ones are coming like tomorrow and next week. Okay, this is the start of it though. So if you start to see tech earnings slip here, I think you see that NASDAQ start to break. And like someone said earlier, NASDAQ's leading the market, right? So yeah, Tesla, Google tonight. Somebody asked BTC 67,250 today. It's definitely possible. However, we've got this massive resistance level here. And one of the trade ideas that we're looking at is the SFP of this level. Okay, so it's possible. Okay, you're getting up above that level, but you need a lot of volume to come in. And that's where these earnings, I think, are going to play a big role. We don't have good earnings today, or even if we do have good earnings and price does not, if we get a sell the news type of event, I think that brings Bitcoin down with it. Okay, as much as we want Bitcoin to be independent of the market, it trades like a leveraged tech stock right now. Okay, so wherever Nvidia goes, Bitcoin goes, and this is the idea would be here. Okay, so you get up here, come back down, potential trade off the, let's call it the 64,965K level. Okay, then you get an SFP of this this high here. That's what I'm looking at, this ugly high. The reason why I think it's an ugly high is because you normally do not see highs like this. You normally get a nice wick or an SFP, but to see something like this on the time frame, like 4 hour or a 1 hour, does not sit right with me. Okay, so 67,276, that's the overall high I'm looking at. Cool. So until it gets to that level, that's where my short trade, let's put this right here. That's where my short trade spidey senses are for the moment. Let's put them up like that. I could even get a rejection a bit lower. I'd prefer to see the SFP. If I had my druthers, we get that nice SFP there. Until then, just chilling, waiting for the market to come to us. Let me check through some of these questions. Take a sip of water, 1 sec. And you can see how well these imbalances are acting here. So somebody asked me, hey, is this like, does this work? Is it legit? I think it does. So, and I'm seeing some nice chatter around some stocks. So let's look at, I love trading Bitcoin. It's my main. And, it's so, it's so nice to see it when the market's trading well. But right now it's not trading, it's not really even, I'm in the long trade and I'll share it real quick. It's been great for the range trade. I'll say that. And if anyone else, let me know, what are you trading right now? Are you long? Are you short? Are you trading Bitcoin? Are you trading stocks? Put some tickers in the chat. And, my plan was to look at oil, Tesla, and SpaceX, as well as Hype. I think Hype, we need to review that one because it's coming into a nice level of support. Although I'm a little more cautious with the long trades now on Hype because of, tried a couple now, and just a couple of smaller trades, and it's been my best performing coin of the year on the long side. But with that said, it's been a slow, but it was a rapid little altcoin season, and then now I don't know where we're at with altcoins. So Ethereum's looking strong though. So as long as Ethereum stays strong, I think the other altcoins do too. Just checking out my trade really quick. 1 second. Gotta make sure everything's. Oh. Oh, yeah. Trade's still going well. Up 222%. Oh, save that there. Been in the trade over the Bitcoin long over 22 days now. And I'll show you that really quick. Let's go money shots. Save. Up over 300% on the oil trade. Still have not taken profits because I don't see a reason yet. I've got some preset take profits already on oil, but haven't hit those levels. I think as far as oil goes, as long as we continue this issue in the Strait of Hormuz, I think we definitely continue rising on oil, which sucks because that's not good for anything else. It's not bullish for the rest of the market at all. So that's a whole other topic. Let's see. Yes, we've got SanDisk. Okay, so I'm looking at what people are trading. Chino, I'll answer that question in a little bit, and I could definitely share that. The template has been shared in the Chart Champions group, so it's available to all members. Silver, okay, got some people trading silver. CL is going for that 95, 91 gap. Honestly, that's similar to what I'm looking at, and we'll take a look as well there shortly. So we've got Wablioro saying hype would be a nice long. I think it's, if you get that anchored VWAP and SFP, the last major low, it would be. I think we've got a nice opportunity there. We got people trading hype. We got stocks, ASILK saying Netflix, Visa, RDBT, no AI stuff in there. Yeah, I think the AI trade has gotten a bit crowded. Maybe it's become a tourist trade. Everybody and their aunt and their aunt's cousin is involved now. So it's almost I gotta say it's almost like a tourist trade. It's like something like everybody is in that trade. So the market likes to find ways to trap the biggest amount of people and hurt them. So we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But right now, those companies, chips still staying hot, and I think there's going to be a point at which we reach that terminal demand for chips. Hold on 1 sec. Sorry, there's a big fire truck outside. All right, and I think there's a terminal demand that gets reached, and at that point, you don't need more chips, right? You just need the energy that it takes to run all the compute. So I think we're going to see the market shift from chips to energy into industrials, manufacturing, and I think you can see that already happening if you look at the stock market screener. Let's look at year to date. Yeah, so if you look at year to date, obviously the electronic technology stocks are performing very well. You wouldn't guess that NVIDIA is only up 12% this year. where the Apple's only up 20%. Now Micron, AMD, Intel, Cisco, SanDisk, those are the names that have really benefited. It's not the main attraction anymore over NVIDIA and Apple, and it's the smaller producers that have the bigger upside who are now, Intel is even letting go of more of their staff. So you're seeing a lot of the windfall from the overall employment efficiencies, we call it, employment efficiencies being generated through AI. And then the next names you see that really jump off this chart, there's some random ones here in the tech services, right? You got a few, but the big ones over here, producer manufacturing, the ones that are generating the ones that are making the data centers, right? Okay. And utilities as well. So utilities mostly green, nothing really crazy popping off, but energy and minerals. So this sector here, the producer manufacturing, energy and mining, utilities, as well as industrial services, those are the ones you're seeing really, really perform best so far this year. Okay, outside of course, the electronic technology. So interactive brokers, I'm guessing they're probably doing well because of all the people now wanting to trade. They have their hands in their prediction markets. Robinhood, very, very good performer, but overall, the last so far this year, not performing great. I think they have a lot of wind behind them, but it's going to take, the market's going to have to get a little bit crazy for those, for new participants to step in. So obviously, we're already in the market. We have our brokers and we spend our fees, but they need new participants in the market. Okay. So it's the same thing that, it's some funny comments. So yeah, I think Bitcoin right now still struggling to get above that 66,500 resistance, and then ultimately the biggest level of them all, 67,000 right now. Holding support quite well, at 64,000. And what we see, at least on the options chart, and I'll throw that up really quick just as a quick reminder. $64,000 being the max pain level. Okay, meaning if price ends the month in the next 9 days, if it ends the month at 64,000, the most amount of participants get hurt. So these long calls up here get expired worthless. These shorts down here, the puts, they expire worthless. So the most amount of pain the market could experience is around 64. So that's kind of where I expect the market to end up this month. Okay. But it's also where we've got that nice trend line. So as well as the anchored view up. So the anchored view up, if many of you had noticed the anchored view up from the very beginning of this downtrend, not the very beginning, but the overall beginning of the high volume push on this downtrend is right around that 64,000 level. So the average weighted volume price, average volume, I'm talking about anchored view up, is right around that 64K level. So that's where you see price gravitating towards, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support flip. Okay. Now that we've flipped that level, price moving up to the next level of resistance on BTC. Question from Kevin. Why does your stock heat map say 9.8% when all the ones I look at are 0.27? Well, this is performance year to date. Okay, and it's filtered out by market cap. So the size of the boxes is by market cap. The depth of the green on the market is the percentage year to date. So go to 6 months, the picture looks a little different. You go to 1 day, it looks even more different. So you're probably looking at the 1 day change. Yeah, it's 0.221. Yeah, and then I'm looking at year to date because I want to say, hey, what so far this year, Tesla down 17.5%. Interesting. And the weird part is I don't see, where's SpaceX on here? I feel like SpaceX should have a big box on here, but they're not here because they're not in the S&P. And by the way, this is just the S&P 500. If you looked at the NASDAQ, it'd be a little bit of a different picture. Okay. And maybe you can combine these both. These like you can look at over the whole world. So let's do Russell 2000. Whoa. Hey, this is the Russell 2000. Actually, the Russell performing quite well. A lot of companies in the small to mid caps doing fantastic. Okay. I think that some of that revenue is trickling down from the big caps into the medium small caps. I like to look at the S&P 500. It's a good job of capturing most of the market. Not all of it, of course, but. Okay, let's take a look at Hype. Bloom Energy, yep, I saw that one. Finnegan. Let's take a look at the really quick. Quantum computing. Okay, so quantum computing, how could it affect crypto? I mean, I personally think it's going to cause a lot of disruptions, but then again, I am no computer specialist, so I don't. Quantum computing, from what I've heard, is still an unproven concept, and it doesn't have the energy that it would be required to run at scale. So maybe you all know something I don't. I've heard quantum computing will quickly bust all of the security protocols that we've got in place. So like passwords will become basically useless. At this point, I feel like they kind of already are useless passwords. Yeah, passwords weren't any good. We wouldn't have like a two-factor authentication. Everybody and their moms, sisters, brothers, nephews been hacked now. So that's just part of the reality we live in. Okay, so taking a look at Hype here, has not quite reached the level that I'd like to see. Okay, but it's got a nice little. Looking back at this 57 level, okay, you got this really nice low here at 56, no, 53, 52.6, okay? Be a key level. You don't want to get below that and hold. Okay, also got, you see how this right here, this 54.5 level, got SFP, price moved back above, reclaimed the value area, and then pushed right up. You want to see something like that again, okay? But what I would like to see on Hype in the medium time frame is going to be, one thing I talked about yesterday was we had this nice, on Monday with my team, we had this SFP on Hype, but it was super shallow, like really, really, really shallow. And so for me, I didn't feel like this was enough. This wasn't going to be enough to actually to bring price a lot higher. So what we're looking at now at the moment is going to be, it's got to be SFP of, I hate to say it, but probably lower 52, 52.6. So in the interim, there is a nice long trade to be had as long as price maintains, excuse me, maintains above this value area high. I could be looking for something like such, and then the nice SFP, reclaim, market structure change, push up, claim this POC, not reject. Then you could get the push to the value area high here. Okay. And that is sort of a rough sketch of what I'd be looking for. But most importantly, we need to see something like this. Okay, a deep low, reclaiming, holding that low, then a push, a new higher high. So, and very important for me in this type of trading is the market structure. Okay, so you need to see, the low, even maybe an SFP, then the reclaim with the market structure change, new higher high, entry, somewhere around here or here if you're being a little less conservative. Stop below this low, okay, with the overall target being value area high. Okay, this just being a simple range trade. Okay. other trade we'd be having to look at is a move down to 52, and this would be like a way more speculative, way less probability on this trade here, because the price would then have made a new lower low on a high time frame, like the weekly time frame probably. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Right now, it's hype has got to be one of those coins it's been so hyped that I don't know. Maybe the trade is a little less. You know, I think there was one time when that guy Arthur Hayes, I think he said, "Oh, I sold all my hype." To me, that was super bullish. So I'm like, all right, well, he's clearly setting up for a long trade if he's trying to get the price, to go down. Because these crypto influencers, I think they know what they're doing. The big whales, they put stuff out there and they time it so that certain things hit the market, certain pieces of news or big wallet transfers, they time it so it's in their favor. So I think, hey, we follow along with that, but not my main source of information. Okay, so good question, Coolbo, and we can chat a little more since I don't have anything at my level of support or resistance right now. But what I will do is I'll set the alarm here on 57.3 hype, and I've already got one actually there, 57.1. So now I've got two, and then I'll keep hype in the background. I do want it to open up. I do want to open up this on hype. SpaceX having just a rough time. No bulls on SpaceX. Tesla coming into some nice support at 369. This level has been a really, really, really nice level over the past couple months. So losing this level 369, 370, pretty bearish for Tesla. But just a quick review there, and then take the leap. Okay, thanks. Not today. Hype. Here's an example of an altcoin, looking at this from an order flow perspective. A lot of sellers on this thing. See sell and balance here. Sell and balances here. You see price comes up, test that sell and balance, then you get the push down with new sells coming out, open interest increasing, and a lot of times you'll see these stops get hit. A lot of sales come in, and then you'll see a rise in price. And if price cannot get back above a certain reference level, like let's say $60, then you'll see those short trades starting to come in right here. And big shorts coming in actually at the lows, and then price consolidating. And then if price doesn't go below a certain reference level, shorts will jump out. So you'll see open interest decrease, volume increase, with price rising as well. What you really want to see is if price is going down, you want to see open interest increasing and volume increasing with delta negative. And then if price is going up, you want to see open interest up, volume up, and delta positive. So you're not seeing that really. So you're seeing a sort of an indecision point here in hype trade. Nothing indicates for me a good long trade entry yet. So okay, so a couple of questions here. One from Coolvo. Do you think the bottom is in for BTC? And what's your opinions? For me, I don't believe so. And if we should stay in this range a while, accumulation range, but I'm just a dude with a keyboard. Hey, you're part of the node, man. We are all part of the Bitcoin node. So I personally have bought some spot Bitcoin around 58,000. Okay. And just zooming out a bit, if we're just looking at some of these higher time frame levels, hide some of this. From a higher time frame perspective, this does seem to be an accumulation range. That said, it also could be a place where price begins to distribute for a final move, a finishing move lower. And I think right now, a lot of the market's being driven by things that are going on outside of finance, like wars, global repositioning of assets like gold, and a overall move in the market away from risky assets like Bitcoin. Okay, so there's just not enough volume, I think, and you can look at it from like a super high time frame perspective, looking at the volume over a long period of time. This indicator. Oops. So here's the volume. This looks so ugly. Okay, looks a little better. Okay, so here's the daily chart. Okay, this is price back in 2021. We had that 69,420 high. Remember, everybody? That was a fun time. And then we had the bear market, right? And then at the peak of the bear market, we had this huge sell order come in, November 2022, and that's when the bull market started. Okay, it was right at that peak, the peak of the Bitcoin's going to zero. It's over. You know, it's never coming back. That's the huge sell order that you get, and that's the move when you get complete paper hands. That's the move when assets move from those impatient to the patient hands, right? And then you get a push up, price increases, you enter that disbelief phase, right? Then you enter the excitement, the hype, we're back. Then you have a period of consolidation. Then you have a period of lower volume, but then a retest of sort of the beginning of the move. Then you have that hype phase, right? You have that hyper, the laggards come in. Everybody, you start getting texts from your cousin saying, "Hey, it's now a good time to buy." And then we have some fun, right? So we have this huge consolidation range, right? So this was, here we go. This range from 70,000, essentially where we're at. And somebody mentioned that we're back trading where we were in 2024. Okay, this is March 2024 or February 2024. And this is kind of if you look at like 2 years ago, it's kind of a fractal of where we're at now. So you have this, except it's the opposite. We had a nice rise, then we had this consolidation. It's basically the ranging price action, and then a nice finishing pattern, as you can see, retesting the 49K level. Okay, and that was, to me, this was the psychological retest of 50K. Okay, and I do feel like this level needs to be potentially addressed this run. So that would be a nice low for me. Right now that we've made the 57, okay, and as you can see, this 58,000 level has held as support. This was the old value area low. Where's the level? Okay. 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 So if you look at this time period here, And this was the consolidation range, the accumulation range before the all-time high, current all-time high, okay? You had this beautiful, massive spike in volume, sells coming in at the very low, retest 50K, reclaim, push up higher, and then you have this sort of this, the very, very, very bullish move out of that, okay? Not sort of, it was a very, very bullish move. Then what you see is price makes the all-time high. You get the SFP of the all-time highs, this massive liquidation wick in October. I think we all remember Friday, the 10th of October. In crypto, that was like the biggest, baddest, most liquidations ever to happen in crypto. Yeah, where were you when? So I think maybe some of us were in trades then. I personally was not in crypto at that point. I was mostly out by that point, but thankfully was not leveraged at all, so didn't have any issues. But sure, some can say the opposite of that. And of course, since then, since the October surprise, we'll call it October 10th, 2025, price has been on this violent downtrend. Okay, so these are this is a bear flag. This is a bear flag here. Okay. Price continues to drop, and of course, where did price come down to when we ultimately did hit a nice low? Okay, we come into this POC. The POC at 63 from the accumulation range before all-time high. Okay, you see price hit that. It's coming into old value, right? So now what we're doing essentially is we're retesting the old value area low. Okay, and you see how well that's respected, right? Test. There's also a nice monthly level down there at 59,000. Okay, so we're into some very, very high time frame support levels. And so for the person who asked me, do I think we're at the lows? Well, I don't know. That's the thing. Nobody knows, right? I will say that there's some important levels that are being tested as support, and over time, it'll become more apparent. So we won't know until price gets above 84,000. That's going to be the key level to claim. Okay. From then on out, it's just speculative. But you can see how it works. You get that nice finishing sell, right? So even here down at the lows in 2022, you got a finishing sell order. Okay, and that marks the loss of confidence, right, in the overall market. I don't think we've seen that yet. You want to trap, many sellers in the lows, and that's how you get a good low. So we have not really. We've seen a spike in selling here. We saw a spike in selling here, but it hasn't. The main point I wanted to make was that volume overall since 2022 on crypto is like in a downtrend. There's less people in the market, less interest from. And while some of the participants may be speculators, a lot of them are professional traders. So being from big banks. There's also one other high time frame level we have to pay attention to, and that these are these high time frame anchored VWAPs. These are extremely, extremely well respected. And you can look at the 2022 low. Okay, see the very, very, very low of the bear market of 2022, and you can see how well it's being respected on the high time frame. Okay, so let me turn this off. This is the volume weighted average price from the low of bear market 2022, around 16,000. Look at that. Okay, so you got two touches of it so far. Get below that, I think you could see pretty quickly a move down 50K. Okay. And there are some levels in between. You got 54,000, 55,000 weekly. And then even below that, you have a few other nice levels. But overall, are we at a nice low? Yes. Have we seen that finishing move? In my opinion, no. Could this be the low for the whole bear market? Possibly. The probabilities go up as soon as price gets above 72,000, then 83,000. That becomes more apparent later on. We won't know until then. And if anybody says, hey, I know this is the low for sure, well, they're probably lying to you. Or trying to sell you something. So we do have some indications that this is a nice low, but what I say is the overall low, my guess would be probably not. So, okay, so just another example of these this order flow playing out. You see this sell imbalances here, price coming in, trying to push through it, rejecting. Now you've got the sellers popping in and pushing price down. So the sellers that were here, we can see are still here. So they got absorbed. There's a limit order buys here, and even some active market orders, but open interest going down. And now you see price getting pushed down with low volume relative, but still new sales coming in. Open interest barely just flat. So if it were really aggressive, you'd see open interest up, you'd see volume up. But right now it's just sort of stagnating right around the 65,900 level. Okay, so let me check over some more questions. To the date, same prices. Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy? Prices tend to revisit areas of value. So where previous long trades were had, they're still there. I mean, maybe some of those traders got out already. But as price comes to visit areas of value, I think you see a lot. I think you see a lot of rhyming of price action. So, and if that were the case, then I'd say probably not at the lows yet for the year or the bear market. And I think we see probably that around October. I talked a little bit about this with my group. There's a big event coming up in late September, early October, where I think that's going to be sort of the pinnacle of the bear market. Okay. And if you're in Chart Champions, you know what that is. If you remember what that is, smash the likes. Smash the likes. Okay, a couple of more questions coming through. Yeah, any way to get the template? Definitely. Yeah. Come swing by Chart Champions, and that's gonna be the best way to do it. It's all available there for the members. And we do have something a little bit different. It was previously there was a spectator event, a spectator group, and now we've actually got a little bit of a different setup. So instead of there being just a free chaotic group, there's a little bit of a mentorship coming through. So all that will be explained. Check out the new website, and you can see more. Yeah, so it's called Chart Champions Academy, and it's much lower. It's an entry level tier, so you don't have to, instead of paying the real membership fee, it's really about £25 a month for the academy, and it's an entry level thing. So it's got the full foundation courses, all the technical courses, and even the trading journal and the the Discord community as well. So much lower price on that for an entry level, and it won't get all the noise because we found that a lot of the spectators group was being bombarded by hackers, and not hackers, but scammers trying to get you to buy something or emulating or impersonating some of the Chart Champions coaches. So there's a new academy tier for Chart Champions for those who are interested and want to get some of the support from our crew. So okay. So yeah, anchor VWAPs. Sean just mentioned that anchor VWAPs at the peaks and bottoms of the previous market, and they line up quite interesting. Where they line up, yeah, I think so. I mean, it's like a moving point of control. So it's like a moving volume indicator. It's probably been one of my top ever. So that's one I love. Anchored VWAPs are, lifetime membership. Ooh, okay, I'll bring that up. I'll bring that up with the crew. Ali, that's funny. Maybe get TA on ETH. Sure, let's look at ETH, and then we'll look at Hype, and then probably answer a few more questions and head out. So give me a moment, and I'll switch over my screen, and we can take a look at ETH. Okay, turned off the camera so it wouldn't be in the way of the screen, because I wanted to show you something while we see Bitcoin sort of ranging here. I want to show something that I saw on Ethereum, and the options are relatively low in terms of volume, but it's been increasing, as you can see. So last, let's see if we can look at. Look at this by month. Okay, end of the month. Okay, so you have that price hanging around 1,800 as far as max pain. Support 1,600, resistance 2,000. That makes sense. And here you go. If you could look at the, I want to show you a different chart, but I don't know where it is now. I moved some stuff around on here. Give me a sec. Let me try to find it. Historic volatility, funding rate. Okay, yeah, you can see sort of the options volume spiked up here in the end of June. Okay, so June, the Ethereum volume spiked to a nice level. And then it's slowly averaging around 200,000 contracts, with a few here and that was June of June of 2026. So let me look at it maybe over the last year, 6 months. Got that February spike, then we got the June spike, which are those quarterly expirations. Last year, so price volume going down a little bit on the options. But the thing that it does show is where bigger traders are hedging their bets and hedging their larger positions like spot. And as options become more volatile, those traders have to hedge their positions with options and or derivatives. Okay, and they'll do both. So that's where we can see the big volatility come in, is when the options and derivatives start to be used as a speculative or a hedging asset. So they have to purchase a lot at one time, which obviously moves the price a lot higher. So call wall at 2,000 on Ethereum with the resistance being around the same price, with the stop at between 1,900. So these round numbers, right? 1,800, 1,900, 2,000, and then the support being around 1,600. Okay, the big put wall being at 1,600. Cool. As you can see, still a lot of more interest on the call side. So my guess would be those covered calls that get sold by the options dealers, and then speculative traders thinking that we're starting that bull run on ETH. So just wanted to share that really quick. One aspect of the things I'm looking at. Another dimension that adds some color to the market, a little bit different than what maybe some are trading at the moment. So, all right, let me quickly check out ETH. Yeah, and just to finish up this thought on hype, we have to keep in mind, I want to be bullish on this because it's made a lot of money and I took it to all-time highs earlier this year, but we have to acknowledge that the market has shifted from this market we had earlier in the year where it was higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, to lower low, lower SFP of the, let me just change that up. So we had this extremely bullish market, right? Let me put it up a little bit higher time frame. Earlier in the year, we had this, just sort of a rocket ship, higher high, higher low, higher high. And now we're starting on the medium to lower time frames to range. This thing were super bullish, it would just continue to go higher high, higher high, higher low, higher high. It would have pushed up to that $100 level. Okay, like we were all probably thinking it would. But instead, it's not doing that. It's really kind of losing some steam, right? SFP couldn't even hang above the 72 level or 76 level, excuse me, for 1 day, like 2 days, and every time it got rejected. So the more you see this thing making, the lower high, lower low type of price action, the less bullish I'm going to be. That said, I'm a trader. I take trades at points of interest on the long side. And this, to me, the point we're at now, is a nice level. So as long as we can maintain this value area low, which has been great support, you got support here, support here, support here, support here, but it's not typically as clean as you might think. So it's a deviation below, then a reclaim. Okay, so we would be expecting to see something like that. So hit a touch, deviation below, then a reclaim, and that could go much, it could go a bit lower, right? And ultimately, what we'd be looking for is a change in market structure on the medium to low time frames, bullishly, then a reclaim with the stop being below whatever low gets created here. So hopefully that makes all sense. With the ultimate low to keep on hype, the 52.6. Okay, that's the ultimate low to hold. And it may be some different across other charts, but that's the level I'll be looking at. And you can see that's been a great level of support resistance across the whole market for a long time. Okay. Being the old all-time high, actually, 57, 58. Held as support, and third touch of support right here. So the next test of this level should be one that holds, but if it doesn't, then we know 52.6 is the next level to look at. So cool. And then BTC. Take a look at ETH quickly, because ETH is going to be, it's nice, 1900. Okay. So ETH making higher highs, higher lows. That's nice. Okay, you'd love to see that. Just turn all this TA off. And yeah, some good questions. And I will see, Wub Lioro. That's a good question. I'll address that right at the end. So one thing that I saw on Ethereum that it makes me a little more confident in where price might be finding those global levels of support. Let me turn this volume on. Not only do you see this volume increasing into the end of last year, now you really have seen it sort of hit into a lull. So the market's it had some spikes, but nothing to the extent of what we want to see for a bull run to begin, right? Even that being said, the price has been acting bullishly. Okay, and then what I'm looking at, there's a massive level of support. Yeah, this one. So the 1500 level has been probably one of the most well-tested levels. So you've got retest of the 1500 level back in 2023, all-time high. Okay, retest of that 1500 level back in 2025, April, all-time high by August. Coming back down now, retesting it again. One would infer that price will then reach new all-time high, but we can't just assume that's going to happen just because it happened twice before. And you can even see it here again. So test at 1500, all-time high. 1500, 16, 1700 zone, all-time high. Been a massive level of support. And I assume that it would continue to be. That said, there's a nice potential opportunity if this level gets SFP'd. So we've got time frame. So the big resistance level seems to be coming in. If you turn on some anchored VWAPs, the biggest resistance level seems to be right around 2400. That one. Come on now. Maybe that one. Yeah, so right around here, right around this high, 2500. Okay. With the biggest support coming in at the 1500 zone. And you can see that playing out here with this last move, right? What I think would be a nice potential trade would be something like this. Okay. This is something I mapped out with my crew a couple weeks back. Okay, so a nice push up into this, the 2000 levels, a rejection, a move down, SFP, deviation, reclaim, and then push back up to 2500s and 3000s. Okay. That then clears all these lows here. So you've got this low here, this here, these lows now here. The key low you want to see held is this one at 888. Okay. Then what this does is it retests that 1300. And what's at the 1300? Well, something very special. Okay, not that one. You got this low here. Okay, this was the low after the bear market of 2022 that then retested the resistance as support, the resistance sort of zone right here around. See all those wicks there. You can even see it back here too. See resistance, supply. So demand, supply, demand, resistance, support, flip. That as well. Resistance, support, resistance, support, push to all-time high. Okay, so if we were able to then SFP this low around 1367, I think that's probably the best long-term high time frame swing trade Ethereum could offer at the moment. Okay, and then if we were to look in depth, closer up, I want to know what is that, because the price is clearly moving up, right? We tested the 1500 level on ETH, and it's now at 1950. So something's going right for Ethereum. But is it just a move up based on? Make sure this is the right perpetual contracts. Cool. Is it just a move up based on people getting stopped out, or is it a move up based on new longs coming into the picture? 1800 low. Ooh, you like to see that. Sellers trapped at the lows. Love that. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So you love to see it. Let me go up really quick. Change the. So if you look into this low, you zoom in on it from a high time frame perspective. This is the 1 hour chart. You see what you want to see at a good low. Okay, you see these trapped sellers. Okay, with the open interest. Where's the open interest? Where's that? Maybe it doesn't go back that far, but you see these trapped sellers here with a push out with new longs stepping in. Okay, a retest of that level. Sellers trying to push the price lower but failing. New buys stepping in, and then price increasing with overall not super great volume on this actually. But as price begins to push up, you see volume increasing. Okay, from here to here, price increasing, price going up, volume going up. Assuming that delta is also going up, you see all these sell imbalances coming in, which leads us to believe this is a move of good quality. Let me change here. Where's my open interest not coming in? Okay, there we go. Okay, now I can see it. So I was just zoomed out. The open interest on this so far on this move has been decreasing. Okay, overall decreasing open interest, but volume slowly decreasing, but actually not bad. And now you've got from this retest of the 1500 level with no new low, basically price was absorbed here by limit long trades. So new sells came in, failed. Now price is pushing higher on an increasing, slightly increasing open interest with an increasing amount of volume, slightly, and market structure to back that up. Okay, so you've got higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So right now, I think we can assume that Ethereum is overall going to be in a more bullish stance than some of the other assets, and I like that. I like that. It's good to see. Okay. But same thing here. Ethereum running into some of these sell imbalances, as we discussed before. Really nice level of resistance here. As you can see, price comes in, tries to push higher, but ultimately fails to do so. So, but it's nice to see a price pushing up with increasing open interest, increasing volume, however, still getting stopped here. So limit sells absorbing price here at the 1960 resistance level. So I'd say price has some work to do, but overall, the plan for me is to see both Bitcoin and Ethereum rise. Okay, gather new long trades, believing we're going to push higher and then the bear market's over. Same thing if we look at the Bitcoin chart on a daily time frame. The big plan for me, something like this, to where we see price push much higher. Okay, gather new long trades. Okay, thinking price is going to go from 75 to 85, and then new all-time highs potentially. Those long trades get then trapped, the price moves down, pulling everybody down with it. That would result in, I think, overall a nicer low than what we've seen now. There's not enough pain yet. There's not enough pain in this market, and we need to see more pain before we can see that that big rise in price. Okay, that's my position. So the plans are as such. Low time frame, BTC. We've got this long trade setup. With the overall target being value area high. Okay. Then we have to consider the fact that the $67,000 poor high right there could be a nice SFP level. Okay. And we've really just sort of been ranging here. So no opportunities for a trade right now. But you do have this scenario where you hit this level, which we've done. Okay. You come up and you SFP this, basically you hit the 67,000 level again, price gets absorbed and gets rejected at that level. Okay. Let's see. So potential long trade here, like we see. but then the overall short trade being the bigger opportunity, I think. At least as a hedge. At least as a hedge for any long trades that are present. So okay. That's the trade to be looking for, with the overall value area low, 61,000 being the target. Okay. All right. And so far, of course, show you what I'm working with. Didn't have a lot of time to review oil. We can definitely do that next time. I think I'll quickly review that before I hop off, but I wanted to copy. Oh. Okay, current long trade on Bitcoin. This would also be the spot trade as well. So long from 59. This is the derivatives one. About 20 days so far. Plenty of profits taken. Probably 80% of the trade was closed around 66,000, 67,000. As this is the major resistance level. So plenty still open, but not nearly a full position size at this point. Okay. And yeah, let's see. Somebody said hype moving. Quick review on hype. Of course, hype is moving because it hasn't hit our level yet. So I would like to see it come down a bit lower, to be honest. That said, if price begins to move, we have to acknowledge that. And as traders, we don't, we won't sleep on anything. That's a good move. So let's take a look at the order flow on hype. Okay, so what do we see? An increase in volume. Actually, a decrease on open interest. A big increase on open interest, and then it pushed back down. So new contracts came in, and then a bunch of people getting stopped out here. So we've got increase in volume, increase in relative decrease in open interest, but overall sort of increasing flat open interest. But the volume being up and price being up, as well as the delta being positive, is a nice sign for the bulls. A nice sign for the bulls here. So personally, I'm not long yet on hype. I was long earlier this week with the stop below one of the daily lows, which was stopped out. And after having hit, I don't think it even hit my take profit, to be honest with you. The trade was here. I might have messed it up. Yeah. The trade was, I believe, this SFP here. So it was something like this. Something like this. So stopped out right around this point. Next opportunity for me is going to be the 57 level. Okay, that's going to be the value area low. And yeah, it's definitely getting a little bit of a jump here, which is nice to see. This coin is alive. It's one of the only coins that's been actually getting. It's only one of the only coins that's been getting nice volume. So, okay, the open indicator. I'll answer a couple of questions and then maybe take a look at a quick view of SpaceX. It just is dead, and then oil, which is alive and kicking hard. But really quick, did some questions. So little detail on the transition from full-time trading. Yeah, so I started full-time trading in 2022, like in June, and I was trading probably part-time before that since 2020. So since the pandemic, I kind of decided I was not interested in being a corporate person for the rest of my life. So I decided to make my own path forward and crypto trade, and found Chart Champions around that time. And then before that, had plenty of trading experience just on my own. Robinhood, reading Ben Graham, Intelligent Investor, following Warren Buffett, and thinking about value investing and stuff like that, which is amazing. I love that experience, but it's not the same as like scalping crypto. Very different actually. In 1 second, let me. I've got something that's come up really quick. All right, thank you. Had to take care of something that popped up. So the transition from full-time, say, corporate job to trading for me was the first year, 2022, really 2021. I kind of already had one foot out the door. It was a year of just saving up as much as I possibly could, building a runway for myself. I was advised to save at least 1 year of potential expenses. And I would even say do 2 years, because you just don't know what's unexpected that might come up, be that health concerns, family stuff. You want to take a vacation. So don't just look at the basic budget, check out the rainy day as well. So set yourself a budget, make it more than you think you need. And I'd say give yourself a 2-year runway. And then other than that, the biggest part of the transition is you have to set your own, nobody tells you what to do. So not only are you your own boss, you're your own employer and your own payroll provider. A meeting with HR is like you looking in the mirror, so just make sure that you are prepared to take on that responsibility. Because if you have a day where you don't want to get up and you don't have any meetings and you just want to sleep or watch, game or watch TV all day, no one's stopping you. And the path of pleasure is definitely the easiest one. And so holding yourself accountable, making yourself maintain your goals and stick to your routines, that the ones that are productive, that's the hardest part, I think, especially if you're used to having a boss or someone telling you exactly what you're doing, or giving you outlines of benchmarks and stuff. So just be prepared for the fact that you will be your own boss. Just keeping my eye on hype here as we discuss some of these questions. And then I was sort of, I guess, either lucky or unlucky that when I first started trading full time, I had a really successful first year. It was 2021, end of 2022, beginning of 2022, which was very a bullish time in the market. So I thought I was like the best trader ever. I thought I was like, oh, that's easy. It's going to be so easy going forward. All you have to do is, follow the trend. And then of course we had the bear market of 2022, and I lost almost all of the money that I had made for the past year, down to the single red cent. So it's nice for tax purposes, but otherwise it was an experience of, okay, if I can make that much and then put it all back, and then go the opposite way, like there's something here. So you have to be able to retain the profits. I'd say the number one priority if you're switching to full-time trading should be paying yourself consistently. If you're in a great trade, as much as it hurts to take profits and you want to see the numbers go up, you have to pay yourself. That should be your number one priority. Okay, it's you got to remember that pay yourself. If you have a good trade, pay yourself. At the end of the day, you're the only one who can pay yourself. So the experience of joining a trading group, I think, helped me a lot. And actually going to the in-person meetups to meet like-minded individuals has helped me immensely. So I met a few people you may know, like Severin and Igor and Daniel in person and ended up spending time with a lot of the people who were just my internet friends now become real life, actual human friends, and have really strong relationships and friendships and accountability partners in all of them. So that has been a huge gain for me, I'd say, in terms of, as a trader, you're your own company. You don't have anybody to if you don't have anybody to lean on when you fall, or anybody to pick you up after you've slipped, I think it's important to have that support system. It's very, very important to have that and build that around yourself, whether it's family, friends, and sometimes family and friends don't understand because they're not traders, but a community of like-minded individuals who are not only wishing to be better, but also striving to be not only ethical, but consistent, growth oriented, and I'd say positive individuals. So you don't want any like trolls or negativity in the picture, because that's just going to hurt you overall. And certainly don't be a troll or be negative. I think that's going to, as much as you think it maybe makes you feel better, or it's funny to like make fun of other people for messing up, one day it's going to be you, and someone's going to be on the other side, and it doesn't feel good. It maybe feels good in the moment, but overall, just be a positive force in your life and your family's life. So the transition, though, is one of those life changes that once you make it, you're sort of on the other side and you think the grass is greener. Turns out you have to mow the grass, you have to plant the grass, you have to make sure that there's no weeds, and you have to maintain that grass. So the grass is greener, but you have to take care of it. All right. So that was what I would say about transitioning. So we've got a couple more questions here. What OI indicator do you use? This one here. So if you go into indicators, it's called open interest. It's by TradingView. Oops. Yeah, this one. Called OI, open interest, and it's one built by TradingView. These are the settings I use. Essentially just the candle, green and red. No wick. Excuse me, wicks actually included, no body. That way it looks a little cleaner on the chart, I think. And I've messed around with this one a lot. I've used this part of it, and this is the one I found to be the most helpful, and it's pulling directly from Bybit. This is the Bybit perpetual futures USDT. And I found those, it used to be the perpetual swap. That was the asset traded against the USD. That was the best volume, but I found USDT is now the best. Okay, so Hype getting that nice push up. See how it's, look at these, again, these imbalances. Price coming down, opening the candle, testing these buy imbalances. And what I'd probably expect to see, a little bit of increase on open interest, excuse me. What I'd like to see is sort of a push into these, see if these buyers are serious, because you had them come in, right? And they've so far held it, but I want to see like a push down into there, see if those buyers are really still there. Because they were pretty serious over here, the sellers were. And then down here, trapped some sellers to the lows, hit a key level. Now price is pushing back up with the buys out of the key level. So what I'll be looking at is, can price hold this 58.6 level? Okay, so you've got a lot of traffic here. A lot of price action going on in this zone. Okay. And you look back historically, also a lot. So what I like to do is just look back at the old levels, right? See what happened here before. This is the peel back the onion really on what I'm looking at in terms of order flow. Got huge volume here at $58. Okay, huge volume. Okay, sells, buys, a lot of imbalances. Okay, you see these imbalances get tested, and price moves off of it very well. Okay, balance is tested, price moves below. You can see a lot of volume here at this 58 level. Okay, price moves below it, sellers get trapped, price moves up, and you see that all the time. Okay, then you go make a new all-time high. Right, so sellers get trapped. SFP of this level, price moves below this area of interest at 58, 59. Huge sell orders come in. Okay, these sellers get trapped, price gets, that big push up that we're looking for. So not only do the sellers get pushed out, creating new market orders on the long side, new buyers come in. You can see that through the open interest increase here. Okay, so now we're essentially just back at this, back test this sell imbalance. This is going to be the next level of resistance here at 59.90, okay, $60. We're not quite there yet, but as you can see, price now retesting this buy order here. Big buy order at 58.7, 58.8. So nice little example in the real time. Settings for the volume footprint. Yeah, for sure. These are the settings. I use manual. Leave that open for you. Row size manual. I like to set it depending on the asset. If I want to zoom in on it. Look at more granular. You do lower. And it depends. Like this could be different than ETH, and ETH can be very different than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin tends to be a much higher. It's a lot more transactions. If I go higher on this one, say 150, you get a zoomed in picture, but not necessarily as granular. Okay, so you see those sell imbalances aren't necessarily there anymore, but you do see a big green delta node. Whereas if you go much lower, like 30, it gets much more granular, right? So it breaks it up quite a bit. You can see a little bit more of a gradient, so to speak. So I look at the gradient on the delta profile, and that's the display. Some people can look at the clusters. That's fine too. Depends on how your eye sees it best. For me, I like to see the profile. And I like to look at it on a delta basis, because if you can look at the total, or you can look at the ladder, with buys, sells on the left side, buys on the right side, it's a little bit harder to see. I mean, you can see that there's a big node here of sellers, but with the delta, I think it's just a bit easier to see that price push down, sellers come in, but the price, if it would have moved down here, this would have been a very nice sell block. Now that price is moving up, you see that these sellers probably got trapped in there. Okay, and now you're getting that push out where the sellers get stopped out. Okay, and they're getting pushed out here. Now let's see if buyers are serious about it and want to hold price here at the 58 level. Okay, so other than that, the settings on this thing, I like to look at the POC. Don't need the value area on the 30-minute time frame. Just don't need it, or the 1 hour. Imbalance is set at 300% with stacked levels being 3. And I like to, with this 6 per row, I like to keep that on a divisible number by 3. That way, with these imbalances, everything stays clean, and don't get any weird numbers. So, all right. So, hey, appreciate you all for stopping by. I think that's going to be it for me today. Quick review. So we've got a nice push up on Hype. Okay, could be a potential long trade. I would personally like to see 57. Okay, if we don't get that, if we start to do, something like this, reclaiming that, push above, I think then you could look at a nice, a bit of a higher trade. Now that price is SFP this level, but I would have personally liked to see a bit lower, around 57.2. Okay, just seems like a nice level. Value area low, all of that, but well, we can't ignore price. Okay, we can't ignore price. So my alerts are set here for this low, 57.39. Okay. We take that again. I'm going to be interested in potential deviation of the range value area low, and then a reclaim for a long trade. And at the moment, not looking for any short trades on Hype. Okay. With Ethereum, same deal. Okay, we've had a really nice level of support historically, 1,560, about there, and we've just had a nice, basically a double low here. And so what we've seen out of that is a big buying interest, okay, coming for Ethereum. Okay, and now what I'd like to see is a potential rejection at let's call it the 2,000 level, and then a push down to make a new low. Okay, to end the bear market with some massive sellers getting trapped at the lows. Okay, because currently we don't have that. Okay, would like to see some semblance of a trapped So right now, pretty much all you have, well, maybe a few trap sellers here, but buyers coming in here at the very, very low, not a bullish sign. Okay, so that's too easy for them. It's too easy. So they got stopped out here. Probably that's that candle's from. And then sellers come in again here. But what you really want to see is something like this. Okay, an increase in volume, sellers trapped at the lows, and then a push up. Okay. So for ETH, overall medium time frame bullish, high time frame bearish, and want to see a reclaim of the basically a retest of the 1400 level, and then a reclaim for that swing long. Okay, pushing up to the next all-time high, right? With the first stop being this 2500 level as resistance. Cool. Right on Bitcoin, quick review, got the long trade printing. Looking for something like this, a retest of the trendless trend line here. Right now, we've rejected off of the high time frame range POC at 66,800. Wanted to see something like this, a holding of the trend line, but a nice retest, maybe even something along the lines of a CC, okay, or a CC Fibonacci right around the 64,900 level. And then a push up to at either SFP this high at 67,000, 67,000 ugly high, 67.3, which we haven't quite seen yet, but either come up here, make a failed auction above 67,000, and then a push down for the short trade, or a reclaim of that level and a push up to the 73,500 value area high. Okay. All right, how low do we think SpaceX can go? Whew, let's take a quick look at that at the end. I mean, 0. It could go to 0, right? So it could go all the way to 0. This was a classic IPO story. Super, super hyped by the news and the market makers. Everybody tried to jump in, traded higher. High time frame high got put in 225. Whew. This thing gained all the market share we've ever seen. 2 trillion, became like the 7th largest company in the whole stock market. And now we're just seeing a slow bleed. I mean, bleeding all the way down to its IPO price. I think this is a key level here. Let's see, key level. This was the IPO price here. So at 135. Now that we're below that IPO price, this stock, it's acting like a coin. This stock is in price discovery. Okay, so it can go realistically. I mean, it can go to 0, obviously, but oops. Okay, sorry about that. Let's look at so let's do a little Fibonacci work here. This looks like it hit the negative .382. Not even. It's super bearish. Could not even get up above the 382 level. So yeah, very, very, very weak asset. And I wouldn't even be able to apply Fibonacci to this. There's not enough history. So I think one thing we could look for is a negative 1-to-1. So if we did like this, let's try this. Let's try a negative 1-to-1. Yeah, so that brings the negative. So if we look at from this high at 225 to this medium time frame low at 147, brings us down to around $69. Okay, so, and of course, if you look at the all-time IPO price to the current all-time high, that brings us around to $45. Okay, so those are those key levels. So not saying it's going to go that low, but it definitely could. It definitely could. So I'd say the key level is going to be the round numbers. Okay, you got 100, okay, 70, 90, 80, 75. But yeah, this is all the people got pulled in. I will say that in early August, we do have that exit for the first lockup period being over on SpaceX. I think that's going to be probably a nice bullish catalyst, because if you were the high time frame investor, you wouldn't want to get out at a low level. So I would expect to push up on SpaceX, but at the moment, it looks like one of those rockets just blew up. Not a real rocket blew up, like a metaphorical rocket. this. It's like one of those rockets that goes down. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So it's launched IPO, and now we're doing the nosedive. Okay. But I would expect this thing probably, you know, it's gotta, I mean, it's eventually gonna go up, but how low it can go, I don't think anybody knows. Rug pull, yeah, definitely. SpaceX buy at 50. Yeah, I appreciate you all. That's gonna be it for me today, and I'll be back again next month for the live stream. And of course, if you're enjoying this content, or if you're a member of Chart Champions, shout out to Coach Severin, Coach Igor, and Daniel. They're on this YouTube grind way more than I am, and I have nothing but respect, and they're all crushing it out there. So I mean, we've got Severin crushing the futures, Daniel crushing the charts on the chip, on crypto and on stocks. Same thing for Coach Igor, absolutely releasing tons of new content, putting out a new sequence indicator. So if that's something you're interested in, sequence, really, really interesting stuff that everybody's doing right now. Severin just putting out a statistics lesson, and some lessons on my own coming out around TradingView and how I'm building out not only my watch lists and scanners, but how I'm looking at the market in terms of order flow and building these, not only how I'm building them, but why I'm building them the way I'm building them. And also, of course, how to build the in-play watch lists, and what's my strategy in terms of building a weekly blueprint, having a in-play stocks list and crypto list, and meshing those together with options. So keep an eye out for all that. And if you enjoyed this one, please smash the likes. Of course, would appreciate that. I love to smash the likes. Smash the likes. Absolutely demolish the likes. Never thought I'd find myself saying that. So I really appreciate it again. Hope to see you all, very, very soon. I'll be back, and I'll be putting some stuff out on social media. So if that's something you follow, check us out on Instagram, check us out on YouTube, and of course, Discord is where we're at. That's the main communications platform. So everything's in the link below. And if you had a good time, show some love. It helps us with the, share this video with a friend, helps us out with the algorithm. So I appreciate you all. Yeah, big love. And I cannot wait to see what happens. Crypto is a little slow, but the stock market is giving opportunities left and right. Hey, next time we'll cover oil, because I feel like we maybe, we can't sleep on this, this oil trade. So I've been, oil futures been long, and it's been a pretty good trade so far. So right now, looking at $90 as a big resistance level. Hate to say that oil is bullish again, but it seems to be the way the world is going. With that, I just wanted to say also, show some love, put some love into the world, put some positivity out there. If someone's ever supported you in the past when you were going through a hard time, help support somebody who you may know who's going through a hard time, and just try to overall be a positive influence out there. Of course, we all love to make jokes and we have a good time. It's an honor culture. So we try to, help each other be better by, maybe joking around. But at the end of the day, it's all about getting better. It's all about being a positive influence, and, sharing this beautiful, path that we've all, decided to explore of trading. So, hey, trading is a wonderful profession. It's hard. I mean, people think trading is easy. You just sit at the computer all day and click buttons, but that's not it at all. That's not it at all. You have to really, really put your heart and soul into it. So thanks again. I hope I see you very, very soon, and CC Pool out.